What's up, guys? I'm Chris Spags here, back with another Four Corners for today's 14-game MLB main slate, courtesy of Osmo.com. We are in the dying days of MLB's regular season, as well as these videos with just 1 week left to go in the season. So right now, show a little love and like this video, and if you want to win a free month of Osmo Plus, like the video and comment your double dong pick down below. Nobody got it right in our last video because there were no double dongs in Major League Baseball, but let's get back on track today, and right now, like this video and comment your double dong pick down below. But as always, let's get to our first corner on today's slate. The top pitchers, and Jacob deGrom in a matchup versus Cincinnati should be the top-owned option industry-wide. deGrom will get 3.5 implied runs against him. It'll be number one on DraftKings with 30% expected ownership, on FanDuel with 20%, and on Yahoo with 34%. It's a park downgrade for deGrom, but his 31% K rate and 101 ISO allowed offers solid potential against Cincinnati's projected lineup that has a 25.3% K rate versus right-hand pitching. deGrom projects to have the most raw points on today's slate by a decent margin, so he seems worth paying up for, even though Cincinnati's park is going to help out the hitters a bit more than his usual home park will. And Zach Greinke versus the Angels should also find some ownership today with the 3 implied runs against him. Greinke will be number 2 on DK with 28% and on FanDuel with 17%, while he'll be number 4 on Yahoo with 23%. Greinke's 22.8% K rate is just below average, but his one whip against the Angels' depleted projected lineup with a 127 ISO and a 25% K rate offers some potential as a cheaper price point. Greinke's at a decent price point, but I think the strikeout upside for deGrom is making me much more interested in him, as well as the next guy we'll talk about in a second. And that guy is Clayton Kershaw in a matchup with the Colorado Rockies, in which there are 2.8 implied runs against Kershaw, which is a slate low. Kershaw will be number 2 on Yahoo with 28%, while he'll be number 4 on DraftKings with 20%, as well as on FanDuel with 11%. Kershaw has a 27% K rate with a 3.5 xFIP on the year, while Colorado has a 25% K rate versus left-hand pitching. They do hit lefties better with a 196 ISO and a 112 WRC plus in their projected lineup. I do think there's a little danger in those Colorado bats, but Kershaw's been so good on the year with that low implied total, I think it does seem like Kershaw's a guy I'd rather pay up a little bit more for than going to Zach Greinke. And now into our next corner, the top stacks on the slate. The Dodgers stack versus Peter Lambert should be popular today. The Dodgers get 5.7 implied runs, and Lambert gets a park upgrade, but has been hit hard on the year with a 248 ISO and a 1.7 whip allowed on the year. Lambert being worse versus left-handed batters with a 1.9 whip and 6 xFIP, as well as a 264 ISO, can be an issue against the Dodgers' 218 ISO, which is a 21% K rate versus right-hand pitching. Lambert has struggled versus lefties, while the Dodgers are going to bring some of the best hitting lefties in the league. It seems like a spot that's worth some exposure today, even though they are going to be really highly owned industry-wide. And a White Sox stack versus Jordan Zimmermann should also find some ownership with the 5 implied runs for them today. Zimmerman's 218 ISO and 9% barrel ball rate aren't good, but it seems like high ownership for a not too well-priced White Sox team today. The White Sox have some power with a 171 ISO in their projected lineup, but their 27% K rate might make Zimmermann an uncomfortable leverage play to go to. While Zimmermann isn't good, the White Sox really aren't either, so I'm confused by the chalk ownership here, and I'd be inclined to look elsewhere on a slate this big. And a Minnesota stack versus Eric Skoglund should also find some ownership with the 6.6 implied runs for them that are a slate high. Skoglund has been brutal in a limited 2019 sample with an 8.5 xFIP, 3% K rate, and an 11% barrel ball rate. Minnesota is a top-hitting team in MLB versus left-hand pitching with a 238 ISO and a 127 WRC plus, so this could be a worthwhile semi-pay-up spot versus a possibly broken pitcher in Skoglund. Skoglund has looked really bad, but he does seem like he could be due for some positive regression. Despite that, though, Minnesota's such a good hitting team versus lefties, I think they're worth the ownership they'll have today. And now onto the lower-owned options on today's slate, and the Houston stack versus Jaime Barria interests me. Houston gets 6 implied runs, and they have high prices, but Barria's 257 ISO allowed to right-handed batters could have them go off at way too low ownership. Houston has a 217 ISO and an 18.5% K rate versus right-hand pitching, so it seems hard to believe they can't get to Barria and a phoned-in Angels team. The Angels really have nothing to offer at this point, and Barria has been really bad versus right-hand pitching for an extended period of time. The Astros are a quality hitting team who should be able to take advantage today. And Dylan Cease at Detroit interests me a bit with the 4.5 implied runs against him. Cease's K rate is on the rise up to 24.2%, so with Detroit's projected lineup wielding a 27% K rate of their own, Cease has a shot at big upside today. Detroit has no hitters over a 94 WRC plus or a 175 ISO versus right-hand pitching, so it does seem like Cease should have a decent floor as well if he avoids his walk issues. Cease hasn't been the most reliable on the year, but he does have upside. He is a top prospect, so I think the strikeouts could be there for him in what seems like a safe matchup versus Detroit. And an Atlanta stack versus Tyler Beede also interests me with the 5.8 implied runs for them. Beede gets a park downgrade with his mediocre 1.5 whip and 4.8 xFIP, as well as an 8% barrel ball rate. Many stacks may be more viable with Beede's relative improvement as the year has gone on, but 4 hitters over a 120 WRC plus versus right-hand pitching offers Atlanta some solid potential today. It's not the hottest day in Atlanta, but it is still a pretty big park downgrade for Beede, who's pitching most of his games in San Francisco. Atlanta's got a lot of quality hitters who could take advantage of Beede today. And Anibal Sanchez at Miami also interests me with the 3.6 implied runs against him. Sanchez will have some ownership on some sites, and his price isn't great, but he's been decent with a 1.3 whip and a 154 ISO allowed. Miami has a 25% K rate and a 128 ISO versus right-hand pitching with no worrisome hitters in their projected lineup, so Sanchez could pay off even if his ownership rises without many appealing super cheap options on the slate. Sanchez isn't a guy who offers a lot of strikeout upside, but he's good at limiting damage, and Miami is also just bringing a really weak lineup who doesn't seem capable of doing much. And now onto our last corner of the one-offs on Francisco Lindor versus Drew Smyly interests me. Smyly is allowed a 292 ISO with a 10.2% barrel ball rate, while Lindor is in the leadoff spot with just a 12% K rate and a 216 ISO versus left-hand pitching. Lindor is one of the better leadoff hitters in the league, and the spot seems like a good one against Smyly, a guy who had some moments this year, but still mostly hasn't looked good. And Nelson Cruz versus Eric Skoglund also interests me as a one-off. Cruz brings a 363 ISO and a 166 WRC+, while Skoglund allows a 211 ISO with a 14% K rate versus right-hand batters over the last 2 seasons. Even if Skoglund isn't as bad as he's looked this year, he is still really not good, and Cruz is a master at hitting left-handed pitching. And Jock Peterson versus Peter Lambert also interests me as a one-off. Jock's price is down in the leadoff spot with his 301 ISO against the 1.9 whip and 264 ISO that Lambert allows to left-handed batters. Maybe the park upgrade helps Lambert out a bit, but Jock is still a really quality power hitter in the leadoff spot against a guy in Lambert who's really not shown much versus lefties. So there you have it. There are my thoughts on today's slate. So right now, please like this video, and if you want to get in on the dying days of our Double Dong contest, make sure to like the video and comment your Double Dong pick down below. And if you've been missing out on the free month all year long, you can also use this promo code Switch and Hedge to get half off your first month of Awesome Plus. You can also go to awesome.com/join and check out all the packages we have that are as low as $3.95 a week. So go to awesome.com/join and find a package that works for you. Go follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Chris Baggs. I've got a ton of shows coming out, including one tomorrow and Sunday, because there are no days off here. I've also had a lot of NFL content coming through, so go check me out on Twitter and Instagram at Chris Baggs. I'll be back on Tuesday with another 4 corners, so go check those out while you can, because you got to cherish every moment we have together. And of course, I'll see you guys again soon, so enjoy your weekends and good luck.